Welcome to 12 July 2023. This is Midday Live. My name is Noble Crosby, and in the bulletin this afternoon, vetting committee of the governing New Patriotic Party clears all 10 aspirants seeking to lead the party into the 2024 polls. Also coming up in business this afternoon, general prices of goods and services increase as inflation goes up marginally to 42.5% in June. Plus some international news this afternoon as Nigeria's Drug Law Enforcement Agency orders immediate crackdown on the illegal sale and use of nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas. Welcome to the program. The bulletin is also live on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. We're live too on DSTV channel 279. Now this afternoon, the governing New Patriotic Party will, for the first time in its history, hold a super delegates conference to cut down on the number of aspirants seeking to lead the party into the next general elections. Now it follows the approval of all 10 aspirants by the vetting committee of the party. Eric Mawenegbeta has more in this report.
And so the cat has been let out of the bag. All 10 aspirants of the governing New Patriotic Party will head to the August 26th Superdelegate Conference, where some 900 individuals are expected to whittle down the numbers to 5. It will be the first time since 2007 where as many as 17 individuals put themselves up wanting to lead the NPP as well during the 2008 general elections, and elections they eventually lost. According to a statement as issued by the General Secretary of the party, all 10 have made it through, and now the onus lies greatly with the 900 delegates who are expected come August 26th to vote and decide the 5 who head to November 4, where the entirety of all delegates will be expected to vote to elect a flag bearer to break the proverbial 8. But who are the 10 candidates? Well, according to polls and the opinions of political watchers, former Trade Minister Alan Kojo Chirmantin, Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, and Asin Central MP Kennedy Agyapong appear the clear front-runners ahead of both the August 26th Superdelegate Conference and the primaries come November 4th. The others include Dr. Owusu Afriyie-Akoto, Boakye Agyarko, Kwabena Agyapong, Dr. Kofi Konadu-Apraku, Joe Gatti, Francis Adainimo, and Ernest Kojo-Poku. Per the statement as issued by the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, the National Council of the party is much later this month, July 20th, expected to deliberate on the recommendation of the vetting committee.
So clearly the race is on and the heat is also on. It beckons on the National Council of the party to go through the vetting committee's report and offer some recommendations, if you like. Let's speak with Richard Ahiagba, who is the Director of Communications of the NPP. Mr. Ahiagba, thank you so much for joining us on the program. So the expectations of many was that the vetting committee, after the vetting, would reduce the number of aspirants to maybe something up to 5 so that there wouldn't be the need for the special delegates Congress. But that did not happen. Talk to us about how come we still see 10 aspirants even after the vetting. Why were they not able to trim the number down?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity, and good afternoon to your viewers. The object of the vetting committee was not to trim the number down. It is to assess compliance issues internally, and then also assess the vision and objectives for which these individuals are putting themselves up, and to ensure that they are also compliant with the 1992 Constitution, determining that if the became the flag bearer of our party, there won't be any challenges for them clearing the hurdle to be able to represent the party in the national election as our flag bearer. So that was the express concern of the vetting committee. Now, the issue of whittling down the numbers to 5, that is a matter of our party constitution, and it's not a burden, but it's a process we have agreed to do to ensure that our congresses are not one of many contestants beyond 5. So what we have to do now is to apply our constitution, which by the scheduling of National Council for these presidential primaries would be to have a special delegate or special electoral college election, which is scheduled for the 26th of August, to then have the number whittled down to 5. And these 5 candidates, once they are cleared from that delegate election, will be the ones that go to the National Congress for election in November 4th. So this is the first time we're having to go through this process. We're excited about it as a party, and we hope that the campaign leading to that and after that will continue to be characterized by the exchange of ideas, and people will be disciplined in ensuring that this being an internal contest, we are decorous and we are respectful of each other's position, and that we focus on ideas to ensure that in the end, the New Patriotic Party will emerge victorious and eventually win the 2024 elections.
Right. So let's talk about this. In the numbers that we're seeing, the 10 of them all making it to, if you like, the Super Delegates Conference, which we understand 900 delegates will be voting in that regard. Is it indicative that all 10 of the aspirants are qualified enough and capable to lead the country, even if they win the 2024 general elections?
Generally, yes. What I just told you, the base qualification required of a member of our party to be president per our constitution will be cleared, and that has been cleared in the case of these 10 individuals. And also the next hurdle, which is the national constitution requiring a certain requirement of individuals to be able to go through the competition as potential president of the country, that also has been cleared. And so for us, as we see it, these 10 individuals having cleared this contest, these hurdles, our constitution and the national constitution, I can tell you that any one of them who becomes our flag bearer, the party will rally behind, and will rally behind them because we know that each one of them presents Ghana a better opportunity to economic development, to freedom, and to meeting the aspirations of Ghanaians than the alternative will ever offer. So any one of them in this 10 candidates are qualified, more than qualified, to be the president of this country. And we believe that any one of them would, if selected, will become the next president of this republic in the next election.
Mr. Ayagba, briefly before you take leave of us, even before the Super Delegates Conference, the aspirants, they are all campaigning vigorously to, sell their messages to their delegates and to the whole nation, if you like. There have been concerns about a lack of a level playing field, and throughout the campaigns, we're seeing some, if you like, jabs thrown at some other aspirants, some, strategies being deployed by other aspirants to put themselves at a certain pedestal. Has that come to your notice? And is that not in a way disintegrating the party going forward?
Well, thank you. I have not seen, but I've heard people express concerns about ensuring that there's a level playing field. And I've heard that from many different people, but it is not because there is lack of that, a lack of a level playing field, but I see it as a measure or a conversation to encourage that remains the case, and that people are committed, or people see it as a paramount to the process to ensure that there is evenness in the application of the the rules and regulations of the governing the elections. So to the extent people make that comment, it is not because the playing field is not level, or they perceive an intentional disadvantage to themselves or to their candidate, but it is for good measure that they make that point, so that we continuously will dedicate ourselves and continue to hold ourselves accountable to a higher standard, to ensuring that people are treated equally and the same.
How about the subtle jabs that the aspirants are throwing at each other?
Hello?
What I'm asking, you've spoken about, the desire for a level playing field. What I'm also asking is, as they go about their campaigns, the messages and how they're speaking, the, if you like, jabs that the aspirants are throwing at each other, in a way, wouldn't it, going forward for the party, cause it to disintegrate and cause lots of disaffection?
Right. I mean, I think in my earlier submission, I did call for decorous conversation about about what we want to do for the party, and not engage needlessly in attacking one another, because in the end, this is an internal conversation. But I want to quickly add also that what I have seen so far, we can only encourage people to stay within the bounds of reasonable conversation. I have not seen exceeding, attacks on people, but I think it's for good measure that we have to continue to call that there is people are holding themselves accountable and understanding above all that this is an election to select amongst ourselves the many who are qualified to lead the New Patriotic Party. That should not degenerate into personal attacks and attacks in manner that will affect the party's overall interest in the real election that matters, to select for this country a president that must continue to bring.
Mr. Ahiagba, thank you so much for your time with us. Richard Ahiagba is the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party. Let's take a look at the 10 who have passed the vetting committee's report and going into the special delegates Congress. And according to how the party arranged it, and that we believe is related to how they submitted their nominations. We're seeing Alan Kojo Tremantain as the first person, who was also the first to be vetted. Kojo Poku, the second to be vetted. Dr. Bawumia also follow suit. There's Boakye Agyarko, the former energy minister, and Kwabena Agyapong, who is a former general secretary of the NPP. Also seeing Dr. Kofi Konadu Apreku, an economist, also making it as part of the 10. There's Dr. Usrefrie Akoto, the former agric minister. Joe Gata is also the former attorney general. And the last of the 10, Francis Adda, also making it into the special delegates Congress of the NPP that is intended to reduce the number from 10 to 5 going into the November primaries of the New Patriotic Party. Well, flag-bearer aspirant of the governing New Patriotic Party, Kwabena Agyapong, is urging delegates not to vote for members of the party responsible for the country's current economic difficulties. Addressing supporters at the official launch of his campaign, he urged delegates to eschew materialism, which would cost the entire country. Amongst the promises made by the flag-bearer hopeful of the governing New Patriotic Party, Engineer Kwabena Agyapong, was to work with the ministerial team of 54 ministers should he be elected as flag-bearer of the party and subsequently the president. The former general secretary of the party also jabbed some aspirants over their contribution to the country's current economic difficulties.
We started out saying that we're breaking dependency on the Western donor agencies. The slogan, Ghana Beyond Aid, rang from the Jubilee House with intensity and vigor. But today, we lie on a stretcher before the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and Ghana has become, in the eyes of many, a case study of how not to do it. Our party, the NPP, therefore, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state and expect Ghanaians to embrace them during the 2024 election. We need a new face, a pair of clean hands.
Reacting to the message and approach, political analyst Professor Smart Sapon says his comments are coming a little too late and his strategy may not work.
These aspirants would be identifying gaps that they intend to fill when given the opportunity. if you make such a claim against your own party, would you turn around and blame perhaps the MDC or the CPP if they tend to use it against you in the main campaign? But that is not to say that if that is the fact, they shouldn't let us know. People who intend to become aspirants for political parties to periodically make general statements so that we get their position on some of these controversial matters even before it becomes a matter of public discussion.
The event was attended by some MPP stalwarts, including economist Kwame Pinim, who chaired the function. So that was the launch of the campaign of Kwabena Ejapon, asking delegates to eschew materialism there. Now, away from that, the minority in Parliament is urging the government to thoroughly investigate a leaked tape, which is calling for the removal of the current IGP, Dr. George Akuffo-Dampare, before the 2024 general elections. The secret tape reveals a plot by a top police officer and a member of the New Patriotic Party to remove the IGP from office to enable the government rig the 2024 general elections. The 50 minutes long audio recording begins with the voice of a man who identifies himself as a leading member of the governing New Patriotic Party, with the second voice stating he's a commissioner of police. The long conversation was interspersed by 3 phone calls and the voice of a third male. The 3 discussed the 2024 general elections and how the ruling NPP cannot win should the current IGP remain. They alleged further Dr. Dampare did not help them during the just-ended by-elections in their Sinnoth constituency, and further alleging disagreements between the IGP and the military hierarchy. The Commissioner of Police in the audio warned of disaster for the NPP should the IGP remain, a phrase that was repeated more than twice in the leaked audio. In the audio, the NPP stalwart is heard asking why these revelations were not made known to the appropriate quarters, and the response was they were made known but were not believed or listened to. Well, the said audio, as expected, is ruffling feathers. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says they are figments of imaginations and should be disregarded.
There is no plot to remove anybody. I don't know about you. We can imagine things. We have rich imaginations to go on. One thing is certain. 2024 would not be a violent election by anybody, and no one will want to thwart the will of the people.
But the minority would have none of that. Ranking member on the Interior Committee of Parliament, James Ogalga, argues the comments are treasonable.
If the audio is authenticated, then it would mean that there are people within government circles, the MPP, who have resorted to some evil machinations to subvert the will of the electorate in 2024. That, for me, is an important revelation which must be taken very seriously. It passes for treason. It is an attempt to subvert the will of the Ghanaian people.
Well, the debate is continuing as experts seek to make meaning of the sensitive topics captured in the leaked audio. Well, joining us for the debate on the controversial tape is former commander of the Formed Police Unit, Chief Superintendent Retired Hamza Yakubu, joining us to talk more about this. Chief, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. I'm sure you've heard the content of this audio yourself. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts are that the police service has been thrown into total confusion and chaos, coming from very top and responsible police officers. One, talking about the performance of the IGP or the implementation of his operational tactics in Asim Fosu rather requires a lot of commendations. There is the need to highly commend him for the show of high professionalism, having in mind what happened in Maewaso West Wogon by election. where so many things went wrong, and the police was mentioned as the lead miscreant in whatever things that happened. I believe the IGP and his administration have strongly reviewed all those things, all those happenings then, and therefore had to adopt strategies that would give the image of the police a trust among the citizens of this country. And for somebody to sit down and blame the IGP for doing that, it's absolutely uncalled for.
Right.
Secondly, we talk about his so-called bad relationship with the military.
Yes.
What are the reasons? Because he has embarked upon ensuring discipline in our society. And if anybody, as we always say, nobody is above the law. And if anybody, whoever that person is, you would recall that politicians fell victims to traffic offenses, other high-profile citizens fell, including police officers, and they were all taken to task. What is wrong with this sort of approach?
Right.
The man needs to be highly commended for ensuring that we have a disciplined society, crime-free society.
Right.
And so it's disastrous for anybody, especially belonging to the same system, to want to castigate him and also have him removed from the office for being highly professional.
Okay. Mr. Yakubu, two more questions before you take leave of us. We're talking about, if you like, the reaction from the Interior Minister. When journalists spoke to him in Parliament yesterday, he said that this is coming from our imaginations. This could be coming from the imaginations of a lot of people. There's no plot to oust the Inspector General of Police, if you like. What's your reaction to his reaction to the leaked audio tape?
I believe that I disagree with the Interior Minister. The Interior Minister should be wary of the fact that immediately after the North elections, the by-elections, there were reports in the media that Dr. Dampari was to be removed in a few weeks' time or in a few days' time. And reasons that were advanced were that he had put in place professional ethics that did not afford the MPP to win the North seat. And so if these allegations are now coming up, when those allegations were made about the intent or the likelihood of him being replaced, the Interior Minister certainly heard of it and should have reacted immediately to it, especially when they focus on the fact that his professional output did not go well with a certain segment of our society. And so therefore, that was where he had a duty to highly come out and speak against that thing. He did nothing of the sort.
Right.
Now that we have a tape that is likely or could be authenticated, he's now turning around to tell us all these sorts of stories. No, I would plead with the Honorable Interior Minister to plead with his overlord, our own father, the President of this country, to go beyond all these sort of comments that we are now finding from politicians, from communicators on both sides of the divide.
Okay.
They should go beyond that and institute an independent probe into this issue, because this security of this country would be in threat if nothing is done before 2024. We cannot sacrifice a hard-working Inspector General of Police for being so professional just to suit the whims and caprices of a few people who want to either win power or to retain power.
Thank you. Chief Superintendent Hamza Yakubu is a former commander of the formed police unit speaking with us there. Well, the reactions keep coming in, and security analyst Adam Bona says the police officer heard in the leaked tape with a leading member of the New Patriotic Party has to be indicted immediately. He's also calling for an independent probe into the issues raised in the tape to restore confidence to the Ghana Police Service was reacting to the leaked tape in which some police officers were heard bad-mouthing Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, the Inspector General of Police, asking him to be removed from office if the NPP wants to win the 2024 elections.
Well, what I would say is that it's despicable. It shouldn't have happened. Reprehensible. These are senior state officials who are supposed to be making sure when we sleep, we sleep. Unfortunately, they seem to have compromised that position so much to the extent that they've thrown that professionalism that they are supposed to have, had in them to the dogs. And so I will tell you that they don't deserve to be representing Ghanaians and to be serving as police officers. I have asked that both of them or the officers involved should be interdicted, face service inquiry, an internal inquiry within the Ghana Police Service, whilst an independent probe is instituted to know what have they been doing, what have they done. A certain COP Mensah said, if you appoint me, I will break the 8 for you. Winning an election, you need ways and means. You can see the act of desperation in these senior officers and the act of dislike and hate for one of their own kind, and they don't mind. The only reason why he wants to be an IGP is so that he would help to break the 8. So for me, to a very large extent, I will tell you that these people don't deserve to be where they are, and they should be punished if they are found to be culpable with regards to, their involvement in what we are discussing. I will tell you with all certainty, 100%, that the audio you have listened to is just a quarter of what has been captured. I will tell you again on authority that there are videos to corroborate whatever is out there. And so anyone who wants to come under the cover of AI is a possibility, but in this case, this is not the work of anything like that. This is not a doctored tape. I have seen it. I have listened to the entire tape, and I have seen the videos. So I will tell you with certainty, not 99%, with certainty that this is real human beings who met. And this had been going on. There is much more than what you have heard. What you have heard, I am sure, is conducive just for the general public for now. And what I am telling you is that a lot of the things that you haven't heard are of national security concern.
Now, away from the content of this sensitive leaked audio to Parliament now, because today it is expected to again consider the Narcotics Control Amendment Bill following the House's inability to have it passed on Tuesday, even under a certificate of urgency. The legislature did not have the required 2/3 majority to see through the bill after members of the minority side boycotted proceedings in support of Asin North MP James Gyakye Quayson. Komla Kluge is a parliamentary correspondent. We're speaking to him at the moment for update on what is going on in the House of Legislature. Komla, thanks so much for your time with us on the program. What is happening in Parliament today?
Well, as I speak with you, the proceedings started a short while ago. The Speaker is chairing himself, but there's a bit of controversy over the continuous absence of the minority. The contention has to do with how they are captured in the votes and the proceedings of the House. The minority is making issues of how the votes and the proceedings captures them, as not being able to come to the House. When you're not able to attend to the proceedings of the House, either you're absent or you're absent with permission. But as it is now, they have served notice that anytime 3 of their members appear before court, they will not be attending to the business of the day. But the way it's been captured on the votes and the proceedings, it does appear that they do have a problem with it, and they are seeking guidance from the Speaker as to how it should be. properly been done. The majority of the other side is saying, why do you have to blame the table office when you decide to opt out of business of the day in solidarity with your three of your colleagues who are facing trial? I mean, all of this has come as a result of the fact that there's a constitutional provision and also the standing orders that if you have sent yourself consistently for 50 days, the repercussions are quite dire. The speaker would have to trigger that provision to which you may lose your seat. And that's one of the concerns that they are raised, how it should be properly captured. So, I mean, as you can see from the background, the minority whip is on the floor, and he is trying to advance the argument that they served notice, and that notice had to do with the fact that there was a permission that they sought to be able to do that, and so no interpretation can be put to that in trying to seal in for want of a better word.
So, Kamala, again, also in Parliament today, we understand the minority says it will seek the guidance of the Speaker of Parliament to subpoena the central bank boss to the House. Talk to us about it.
Okay, so the minority, the ranking member of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, has for some time now been on the case of the central bank. He says that one, the central bank has violated its own compliance regulations and also the constitution, where in every 15 days they are supposed to go to town to publish their statement of account of their transactions. Except for some time, for about 6 months now, the central bank has not been doing that. In fact, in time past, Isaac Adongo, has written through his lawyers to the central bank to ensure that they comply with that. And if the central bank themselves have been taken to task other financial institutions, why would the central bank be doing it? I said after that, he has realized that they started the publishing. But the central bank has refused to attend to finance committee meetings where they go through their books, and he finds this as very offensive. This was what he had to say a short while ago.
Financial statements, which by law should have been published by the end of April of the year. We are now half a year through the year, and all the banks have complied with the filing of their returns to the Bank of Ghana. Those reports include what we call the long form reports, which are very detailed, audited reports of the banks, breaking down every single item on the balance sheet of the banks in order that we can see the bank for who it is. But Bank of Ghana is not able to comply with its own law to do the very things that the other banks are doing.
So that was Isaac Adongo there. Kamala Klutse is still on the line with me for more happenings in the House. Kamala, thanks for staying. We understand also that the Attorney General has written to the Speaker renominating the Deputy Special Prosecutor, Cynthia Lamte. How true is that, and what mechanisms did that go through?
Well, the Speaker has been reading the communique from the Attorney General, who indicated that they're renominating Cynthia Lamte. She had already been vetted in the past as the Deputy Special Prosecutor, but served a period of 5 years, and they have renominated her again to be vetted to occupy this position. The Speaker, reading the letter, indicated that the Attorney General says that they have confidence in her, that she would continue to do the work that she's done in the 5 years that she's occupied that seat, and that they're expecting that the appointment committee would go ahead and do the vetting, and then she will be passed for her to do the work. There's absolutely no timeline regarding when the vetting will be done. We had snippets of information that today it will be done, but it doesn't appear that it may be happening today. But the Speaker has referred it to the appointment committee. But beyond this, it's also expected that the Speaker will be putting the question on the passage of the Narcotics Control Amendment Bill 2023, which was taken through a certificate of urgency yesterday. I've seen loads of people, especially members from the Rastafari community, who are here in the public gallery to witness the passage of this bill.
Kamala Kluche is our parliamentary correspondent there. This is Midday Live. My name is Noble Crosby, and Business News is up next after the break. Stay with us.
Gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chesena mi ankasa me period no say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na mkwan point no mo hwe me mogya mu no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kra mienu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba head everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama nuru a ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point wa dance am me call you no me Johnson sema na enkoyie empeso na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me no be fie for there the one dey nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
You free me dede. So mo se me gina ha na e Franco Trading Enterprise omo television papa pa no and me go so a me di one dance e chiro. So we see hotels, hospitals, schools, offices, apartments. Sorry. Now we pet TV papa pa edi abomu. Eye Franco Television. Ababa wani abrantia wesiso. U pet TV di abo dem a. Enhwe ba bia. Se Franco Trading Enterprise. Ya what 24 inches wo ho, 32 inches wo ho, 43 inches wo ho, 55 inches. And akese 65 inches. It's enhwe wani hwe ba bia. Bra Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise. Television papa I feel
Banga wego
GMB 2022 It's time for the beauties from all 16 regions of Ghana to gather and showcase their dexterity, talents, brilliance, and uniqueness.
I am Nana Asariba for the second and the survival of the human race. The Queen Mothers lie on their right hand according to seniority.
Get ready for the greatest adventure of your lifetime. Ghana's Most Beautiful 2023.
Ghana's Most Beautiful, premiering this Sunday, 16 July at 8 p.m. on TV3.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Common 20 series, and supported by Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Spices, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescafe Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Kasapreko, Top Chook,
Kitchen Wars.
The most anticipated cooking reality show is making its return to your screen. It is Kitchen Wars Season 2. Old school alumni get ready to compete for yet another epic showdown. Which alumni will take over from WAS?
The school that came in first place, West Africa!
Get your ladles out, sharpen your knives, and be ready to battle it out. Interested alumni must be in a group of 6 to participate. Simply send your details 0531 906 281 to register and stand the chance of being the best alumni in the kitchen. It's Kitchen Wars Season 2. Kitchen Wars, your school feed cook.
Kitchen Wars, coming soon on TV3.
Brought to you by Gino Tomato Mix.
And Napa Foods. Say Napa. Enye ono soko.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Business News is up next. Manu Afol is here to take us away and bring us the latest in business. Over to you, Manu.
Thank you, Crosby. Welcome again to the business segment. My name is Manu Afol. We'll start off with inflation because general prices of goods and services have increased by 0.3% to 42.5% for the month of June compared to 42.2% in May. Between May and June, prices of goods and services also went up by 3.2%. Government statistician Professor Hobne Enim says imported items continues to dominate in the rate of inflation compared to locally produced items. Here are some highlights.
Food inflation for the month of June 2023 stood at 54.2% relative to non-food inflation 53.4%. This signifies about a more than 20 percentage point difference between food and non-food inflation for the month of June 2023. We keep on recording a widening of the gap between food and non-food inflation in the last 3 months. Items that recorded national rates higher than 3.2% included personal care, social protection, and miscellaneous goods and services that recorded a rate of 5.1%, food and non-alcoholic beverages 3.9%, and recreation, sports, and culture that recorded 4.0%. All these rates, all these divisions recorded rates higher than the national figure of 3.2% for the month of June 2023. Overall rate of inflation perspective, we identified the Western North region recording the highest rate of inflation of 61.8 for the month of June 2023. This was closely followed by the Northeast region recording the second highest rate of 58.7%. The regions that recorded the lowest rate of inflation were Greater Accra region and the Ashanti region, with Greater Accra region recording the lowest rate of inflation of 30% and Ashanti region 33.3%.
Economic issues. Economist with the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, has described the Ghanaian economy as depressed. This follows latest findings by some investment firms ranking Ghana as the leading African country with the highest interest rates among some top 11 African countries, overtaking Egypt by about 1 percentage point.
Yeah, it's not surprising. It's a sign of economic, depression, a situation where your interest rate keeps on going up and inflation also going up. And they are highly correlated. These are two variables that if one is going up, the other tends to catch up with the other. So obviously it's a signal that the Ghanaian economy is in depression. And until government shows a signal of reducing its demand for funds on the market, there's no way our interest rate is going to, come down.
To some more stories, and Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the redevelopment of the Ghana Trade Fair Company will help the country consolidate its position as an economic giant in the sub-region. The redevelopment trade fair, when completed, is tipped to house the African Continental Free Trade Area, Secretariat, African Data Center, retail shops, hotels, and amusement parks.
Ghana, as small as we are, led political independence, and we are then destined to lead the economic emancipation, situating AFCFTA in here. And this is where the trade fair project for me lies. Because in the AFCFTA, it's $16 billion worth of welfare gains, an additional increase of about 3% of our GDP for Africa, employment growth, an increase in African trade of about 33%, and a decline of 50% in Africa's trade deficit. And that is very significant resources. Every 1% increase in international trade is literally $70 billion that comes in.
Now, away from that, some local tourists have called for investment into the tourism sector as a means of diversifying the economy. Adopting new strategy for tourism growth they think is critical for sustainable sector. This, they believe, will help in generating foreign exchange for the country.
Ghana is adorned with a lot of tourist attractions, from castles and forts, waterfalls, national parks, among others. The country is yet to fully leverage the potential of the sector, as Ghana targets 2 million tourist arrivals with expected $4 billion in revenue in 2 years. Investment into the sector is key. The redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park should be a guide for investment and maintenance. Some local tourists think the sector should be given the needed support.
Many people, foreigners, will just come see the beauty of Ghanaian tourism benefits and the income, so that Ghana economy will just grow faster.
I think tourism is one of the aspects that even the government or the stakeholders take serious and put in measures to draw a lot of foreign exchange to the country. So I think that is good.
Investment, maintenance of facilities, good customer service and relations, how best the Ghanaian story can be told are some of the issues that need attention. Tourist sites alone are not sufficient to generate significant revenue. The other piece of the puzzle is the country attracting large-scale meetings, which will result in fully booked hotels, increased consumption across various sectors. Ghana needs to adopt new strategy for tourism sector growth. Eben Ajekum Boateng, 3 Business, Accra.
And that's how we wrap up the business segment here on Midday Live. My name is Minu Afo. Stay with us. We have more news coming up after the break.
Sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between.
On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okansi.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
GMB 2022. It's time for the beauties from all 16 regions of Ghana to gather and showcase their dexterity, talents, brilliance, and uniqueness.
I am Nana Asariba for the second and the survival of the human race. The Queen Mothers lie on their right hand according to seniority.
Get ready for the greatest adventure of your lifetime. Ghana's Most Beautiful 2023.
Ghana's Most Beautiful, premiering this Sunday, 16 July at 8 p.m. on TV3.
GMB 2023 is sponsored by Gino Tomato Mix, GTP, Techno Common 20 series, and supported by Bell Pack Tissues, Sankofa Spices, Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Nescafe Blood Tonic, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Enapa Foods, Freedom from Casapreco, Top Choco.
Well, he scored the winning goal, of course, when these two sides last met at the Emirates.
Mike, why did you put the suitcase on top of the wardrobe?
For a foul on Haaland by Saliba. It's not in a
Now I can't reach it. Please help.
Cleared by
I'm really sorry about that, okay? I'll take care of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Showbiz 360
on TV3. And this is where everything happens every Friday. Your ultimate stress reliever, Showbiz 360. Right here on 3. Hey! You the guy in the Ghana Jersey, make no trial. Don't touch it. I didn't beg you. So why do you want to change the channel? Eh? You get one by your body. Nice, babe. And you want to change your channel to football. Why? All right, so cool down with some popcorn and enjoy the wide variety of entertainment we've got coming your way. This is where you kick off your weekend. Fan pack, interesting celebrity convos, you name the gossips, plus lots of fun activities, all right?
Number our yes way, Mary
God be great, God you want it. With me, Giovanni Caleb, every Friday, right here on TV3.
Watch Showbiz 360 Friday at 9 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Black Rock Honey Whiskey,
Betway,
Deluxe Acrylic Paint.
Let's do some sports now, and Yao Fusulabe is here to bring us the latest in sports. Over to Yao.
Well, most definitely. Let's head on now to the sports news this afternoon here on Midday Live on TV. Now, the Ghana Football Association has, in the last few days, announced that they have completed a plan that highlights the football philosophy in Ghana. Now, the philosophy is expected to contain team culture and values, how Ghana will play, coaching aspects, and more. The GFA is currently in a meeting with stakeholders of the game today at the Accra Trade House conference room to reveal the full details of the philosophy. Well, standing by there at the moment is my colleague Oreku Ampofo, who has been monitoring the Ghana football philosophy plan that is being rolled out at the Accra Trade House, and he's going to bring us a few details. Oreku, what can you report from there at the moment?
Well, thank you very much, Yao. What we can report at the moment is that the technical director of the Ghana Football Association, Bernard Pute, just finished reading a report detailing what exactly would be in the document. But there has been some prerequisite information that has been laid across to stakeholders who have been at the meeting so far. What we do know is that this philosophy for Ghana football would spread across all the way down from the under 13, through to the other youth levels, straight up to the senior national team. And it's not only for men football, it would also be for women's football as well, starting from the lower tier, straight onto the national teams as well. In terms of what went into putting this document together, looking at the methodology, they looked at two parts, that's the strengths and then the weaknesses of all the national teams in the past few years. In terms of the strengths, they focused on the 2009 and the 20 team that conquered Africa and then went on to conquer the world subsequently. And then they also looked at Karim Zito's team that also won the 20 AFCON a couple of years ago. For the weaknesses, they realized that one thing Ghana doesn't lack is talent. But when it comes to the technical aspect of football, that's where the country was lacking. So the Ghana Football Association decided to put together a survey and spread across 200 people. They sent it to ex-footballers, administrators, coaches, and other stakeholders involved with football, asking them questions about how the country. So that's what we do know so far. What we don't know is what the style of football would be exactly. Would it be as defensive as Italy and then on the counter-attack, or would we rely on stability like England, or play quick football like Germany, or could it possibly Spain's tiki taka more skillful, more expensive play like us? That's what we're yet to find out.
Right, Oreku, thank you so much there for bringing us details from the Accra Trade House there, where the GFA is releasing their plan for Ghana football as the Ghana football philosophy. It ends the sports news this afternoon on Midday Live on TV3. My name is Yao Fusulabe. Entertainment News is up next.
Well, Well, Ajwa Noella is here to bring us all the juices in the world of entertainment. Over to you, Ajwa.
Thank you so much, Crosby. Now let's get into the details. Awesome entertainment updates here on Midday Live. My name is Noella Donko. Now, seasoned actor Adjetey Annan has reacted to conversations surrounding his memoir, released at the 50th birthday celebration. Now, speaking to 3 Entertainment, the actor noted it's really worrying how people have focused on the negative parts of his book, neglecting all the other positive and inspirational aspects.
It was expected. I knew that people would go the way they're going, and I find it that such an irony because we go. I've heard so many people criticize the West of representing Africa, and all they show is negativity, and yet we're doing even worse. So we have no right to condemn them. We have no right to judge them when we're doing that to ourselves, because our focus is mainly to sensationalize, whatever that we put out there and negate the negatives without looking at the positives that will have impact on our lives. Because when you keep on harping on the negatives, what do you expect? It to repeat it. But what are the lessons learned out of these things? And those are the focus that we all focus on. But it's, and then to the point where people are stringing their own headlines. And some of the things that I've seen, I've just been laughing because there's no point in the book that I asked my wife for forgiveness, and it's there clearly. There's no point to suggest that I slept with all these girls. I mean, come on, please. So, I mean, it's just for people to get the understanding. And the thing is that people don't read, and that's the bad thing too. That somebody just says a word and somebody takes it up, and it starts a whole new conversation without really paying attention to the what's in the book and really analyzing what has been said and all that. But we're just a negative kind of people most of the time, and it's just unfortunate. So that would be my response to what has come up so far.
Now to some more stories. A satirist and TV host KSM has said he is highly impressed with the facilities at the refurbished Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Now, after taking a tour of the park, excited KSM told 3 Entertainment that a renovated facility is befitting of the stature and memory of Africa's man of millennium, the late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He, however, once manages to adopt a good maintenance culture to preserve the park.
KSM last visited the park 2 years ago and left feeling sorry. Facilities at the park had deteriorated. The first official vehicle that the late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah used as a prime minister was at the mercy of the weather.
Years ago I came and it was parked outside here somewhere, and the weather was just really beating it and it was rusting, and I said to myself, I wish I had money. I would keep this and preserve it.
Like other Ghanaians, KSM visited the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park to admire the new look of the renovated facility and, most importantly, pay homage to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
I started from the auditorium where there were a photographic history of him being sworn in as Chancellor of the University of Ghana, some pictures of him, and the early educational projects he has started. Fantastic. You can't forget the car. I think that's the first car he used, or the first official presidential car. It's amazing. So you can tell how excited I was when I realized that it's being kept in there and being preserved. It's a great historical piece, and I can see thousands of people coming just to take pictures by that piece,
The celebrated TV host is impressed with the new look of the facility. The park now has facilities including a presidential library, receptive facility, mini amphitheater, a fountain area, freedom wall, and a digitalized payment and access system.
Definitely a beautiful sight to behold, and that's how we wrap up on the entertainment news here on Midday Live. My name is Noella Donko. Up next is international news.
In international news this afternoon, Nigeria's Drug Law Enforcement Agency has ordered an immediate crackdown on the illegal sale and use of nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas. In a statement on their website, the head of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency said the strict decision follows analysis of the effects on those who abuse the substance. Nitrous oxide is commonly used as an anesthetic in medicine and dentistry, and in whipped cream canisters. The gas can make the user relaxed, jiggly, lightheaded, or dizzy. Well, that's our package for you this afternoon. There's more news on our website, 3news.com, if you log on for more. My name is Noble Crosby, and on behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for watching the bulletin. See you again some other time. Bye-bye.